Second week of January 2017. The arrival of Planet X and the Nibiru Nemesis system introduces a series of implications that are not fully understood by the general public. This requires an in-depth explanation if we are going to get to the bottom of what is going on here on planet Earth. Have you heard of Operation Indigo Skyfold? Probably not if you are among the many individuals who primarily get their news and information from media organizations that are owned and operated by multi-billion-dollar corporations. But as it turns out, Indigo Skyfold is the most secret covert black operation in world history. It is the jewel of all black operations, and its purpose is actually threefold: to control weather, to implement warfare, and to cover up the existence of a second sun in our solar system. The operation was specifically designed to accomplish the latter of the three by the use of aerosol spraying during sunset and sunrise, which are the most available times of the day in which to observe the Nibiru system. The operation itself is concentrated in highly populated areas. So if you are situated close to an urban area, look towards the sun, and you will more likely than not see and recognize what I am speaking of. Chemtrails, as they are referred to, consist primarily of the following chemicals: selenium, aluminum, thorium, and barium, processed into submicron particles and ionized with a special electric charge. Now, this operation is covert in its nature, so the pilots that are involved in the process are informed that the procedure is being initiated as a global warming greenhouse gas mitigation strategy. So in essence, the pilots are instructed to follow orders in a procedure that has the earmarking of a don't ask, don't tell policy. This is how the intelligence community operates on a need-to-know basis, restricting knowledge of an operation to just a handful of select people who are then responsible for the implementation of a number of black operations, such as the construction of deep underground bunkers, where they have access to special contractors for their top secret purposes. Another sinister purpose that involves chemtrailing, which is controversial, is its use by HAARP to create weather modification as a military tool. HAARP is a system that transmits microwaves into the ionosphere and our atmosphere to move jet streams from their normal positions, which in turn changes weather patterns. It can be labeled as a means to create warfare with enemy countries by producing severe drought and floods in designated areas. What is so disturbing about this is that there are still so many people who have no knowledge that this is happening, simply because there are too many distractions that keep people glued to mundane events, rather than what is really important for us to know and understand. If we were to focus our attention on important happenings around the world, we would develop a better sense of how our planet is changing, giving us a head start on preparing ourselves for the changes that are coming upon the earth. This is what I have attempted to instill in those who watch our video presentations, as many of you have indicated that you are now paying closer attention to the changes that are now taking place. To illustrate my hypothesis about the Earth changes taking place, let's examine the recent Earth events that transpired within the last few months. Last summer, a massive earthquake and a series of large magnitude aftershocks devastated numerous towns in central Italy. The question that is often posed is whether this disaster was related to Planet X getting closer or just another normal Earth event. If you inject my hypothesis into the equation, you are always going to have a number of naysayers and skeptics who will scoff at the notion of a Planet X culprit, because to them it does not exist, except in the mind of those who know and understand. Yet the scope of the earthquake in Italy was unprecedented, as this raw drone footage describes. In the wake of this devastation, we have witnessed a series of incredibly powerful earthquakes in Indonesia, New Zealand, Chile, and the Pacific Islands, just to name a few. And again, I ask, is this the result of Planet X or just a coincidence? Take a look at this chart of the magnitude of earthquakes in 2016. A pattern of the number and intensity of the earthquakes is developing in the last decade. As investigators and observers, the best way to tell when things seem abnormal on the planet is to monitor the weather. Here in Louisiana, we have recently seen an extreme fluctuation in our weather patterns and our temperatures. In the last few days alone, temperatures have gone from a low of 21 degrees to a high of 78 degrees, which is 16 degrees above the normal for this time of the year. So, can we or should we label this as normal weather? I am certain from all of my many years of observation that our planet is in the grasp of a severe wobble, which in turn has a profound effect on our weather. With all of the mysteries surrounding the Planet X Nibiru system and the influx of confusing misinformation, it is difficult to predict an arrival time frame. So the only thing left for us to do is to prepare by monitoring the world's erratic weather and the number and magnitude of Earth changes now taking place. The more extreme these events become will give us a better indication of how close Planet X Nibiru is moving towards Earth. One of the best indicators of its arrival is to observe the number of meteors passing Earth or the frequency of them hitting the Earth's surface as meteorites. Take a look now at this amazing footage of rocks raining down on Turkey, which was videotaped at the end of November of 2016. This type of cosmic infiltration will provide a time frame to help ramp up our preparedness, as this is a sign of what is coming our way. There is also the concern about new censorship on matters pertaining to our general safety and security. Do you recall the most recent mainstream media report on the discovery of Planet 9 in January of 2016? It was all over the news at that time. Well, in case you haven't noticed, the story has died a sudden death. They rather have you focused on politics, terror attacks, and anything that will distract your attention away from what you should be focused on, which is your survival, which according to a number of prognosticators could be later this year. But of course we have heard that before. Nevertheless, something disconcerting is happening on planet Earth and with the planets of our solar system. And it will be in our own best interest to keep our eyes open and better prepared if and when things begin to go south. As I mentioned in my previous presentation, the Nibiru Nemesis system is very near Earth, and evidence suggests that Nibiru and its adjoining moon are the red and blue Kachina, just as the Hopi Indian nation had described it in their prophecies, and also in their address to the United Nations towards the end of the 20th century. Its meaning is as powerful today as it was back then. This is also why the Vatican's Lucifer telescope is watching the encroaching system. Just think about this for a moment. What purpose does the monitoring of the heavens by the Catholic hierarchy play in their future prospects, if not to help in their survival? There are some in the Planet X community of prognosticators who, through their own formula for observation and time analysis, have concluded that 2017 will be the year of the comet, the planet that Carlos Ferrata called the Comet Planet. So I will leave you with this thought. So much emphasis has been placed on the great sign in the heavens. Have you noticed the immense illumination of Venus recently? Not only is it getting brighter, but it is also getting closer, almost as if it had developed a wingspan. There is nothing outside of our sun that outshines the presence of this planet in our night sky. Therefore, something is beginning to take shape that has many of us bewildered and confused because we can't put a time frame on when the great changes will come to fruition here on planet Earth. I do encourage you to visit our Facebook page for the latest images and video posts on the Planet X system and other incredible events related to the climate and earth changes that are happening now. We devote a considerable amount of time in providing information that we believe will be of benefit to our subscribers and viewers across the internet. So please take a moment out of your schedule to check us out. Leave us a message or share anything you feel important with our social media community. In the meantime, stay safe and keep looking to the skies.